this or to moderate this session. And I'm very happy to see that we have a good number of people who connected from different countries. I was checking that they are representative from 18 countries across the world. So welcome all. Without taking more, let me welcome Mr. Idris to introduce to us the speaker in the brief, so that he give a floor to the speaker to continue with this evening session. Thank you and welcome, Mr. Idris.
Thank you, Mr. Wizen. My name is Idris, coming from Nigeria, Lagos specifically. I will just quickly run through the biography of the speaker. I will just enjoy us to welcome Julie. He's a highly accomplished infection prevention professional. She hails from Sydney in Australia with a strong background of chemistry and biology. Julie brings a unique perspective to our work, driven by a passion for safety, compliance, and constant pursuit of workflow optimization for improved outcome. Remarkably, Julie, over 23 years working with various hospitals, and it has been a leadership teams and end user, and it had also a specialty facilities.
Yeah.
She speaks for 5 years. Julie has concluded various third-party inspection run, gathering data for driving process improvement across multiple facilities. With a decade of experience in consulting, she has been instrumental in implementation and emphasis safety, compliance, and process for improvement. Julie's expertise extends to various areas, including being a certified USP 797 trainer and providing gap analysis. She has actively contributed to innovation and technology driving initiatives. Part of it, we have artificial intelligence monitoring, cloud-based solutions to SPD monitoring, and it has been at the forefront of cutting-edge advancements. More so, Julie's expertise also spanned into environmental hygiene, product and program chemistries, as well as implant technology that significantly improve patient outcome. Notably, our involvement in development of AI-based gel to prevent epidural fibrosis and reduce inflammation without suture has had a profound impact on patient care. In the realm of wound care, Julie has worked with technology-driven options that combat bacteria and biofilm effectively, alongside power-based scar prevention technology. Additionally, our contributions to procedural safety are unparalleled, which design of a patent technology system for risk mitigation, efficiency, and organizational compliance through a disposable platform, benefiting OHAB, CAT lab, and universal procedural safety. Julie dedicated to the field of infection prevention and committed to push the boundaries of acceptance standard, make her an invaluable asset to any organization. I'm not telling you don't know what you know. What you don't know. Especially our willingness to keep an open mind and explore beyond convention to achieve excellent care in patients. Let us welcome and inspired experts driving positive change in prevention and healthcare. Please, let us welcome Julie to the platform. Thank you, Mr. Wilson.
Hi, all. All right, can everyone see me? I've got a lot on my screen here, so Hey, thanks for the introduction and just some clarity. The products and stuff that I help with in designing, I'm doing the infection prevention development part. So I'm not the owner of any patents. My colleagues are their own owners, and I help implement and make sure things are what they should be, I guess, from our point of view or my point of view for the medical area. But hey, thanks for the introduction. Again, Julie O'Donnell, I'm quite honored to be here, and originally from Sydney. I have 5 daughters, so keeps me very, very busy with my poor sweet husband at the helm. And you know, I guess one of the funny things, you don't know what you don't know. My sister's a NICU neonatal nurse and has her own business now. And, you know, I hear all these different stories about, you know, the moms are thinking that they're doing things correctly because they're Googling things, right? I don't know what they don't know. Like for me with sterile processing, I've been a speaker for years in sterile processing, and then Jesse comes on, I think he's a speaker here too, blows me away because I need to open my eyes more. There's so much that we think we know, but there's really cool, innovative things out there that we are kind of repressing ourselves from. So I thank everyone for getting on and appreciate everyone's time this morning, this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world today. So I'll just hop over. Can you see my screen, or can someone help me? Do I need to do, let me see here. I want to share my screen. So how do I need to do that here?
You can use the share screen button on the bottom.
I don't have control of everything. Now let me see here. Let me get over here. There we go. There we go. Had to scroll down everyone's beautiful photos, pictures. Okay, can everyone see my screen now? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let me get
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, is that big now? Can you see it pretty large on your side?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I guess our topic today is innovative approaches to enhancing patient safety and organizational excellence in the operating room. You know, we talk about how people see things differently, right? What I think is good because I'm following the rules and regulations, even though I am, may not be what other people see, or there's other things going on that they need help with. You know, for instance, hand hygiene monitoring. I get a call from a hospital, and she's infection prevention, and she says, hey, I have 2 departments that have 100% hand hygiene reported. I said, wow, that is fantastic. She said, not so good. They're self-reporting, and every time they see me, they all wash their hands or they all sanitize, right? Probably like you guys, when you're going into an area and you're checking on things, they see you coming, or you know someone's coming. It's kind of a reminder that, oh, okay, everyone get together. So I went in and I was doing surveys and asking about hand hygiene or looking at the dispensing systems or checking equipment. And my numbers I got back were pretty close to 40%, 45%. You know, so sometimes what you see on paper, because the numbers reported a certain amount, just kind of getting out of the box sometimes and, you know, looking at things in a different perspective, sometimes will help you attain what really is going on. And it's not an I gotcha, it's let's make improvements, right? Because ultimately the patient's got to be safer. And I always tell everyone, hey, if you're not carrying an infection, you're not infected, you can't infect anyone, you can't cross-contaminate. So I always try and think, I don't know what I don't know. Gosh, so when I see things posted on LinkedIn, I don't care what it is. It could be someone's vacation. It could be someone sharing something happy for the day or something interesting they want someone to look at. I always pull it open because I'm going to take different things out of that and either make my day better or help someone else, or, you know, be able to put that thought where I can use it better in a hospital or in a clinic somewhere. So even if it's just to put a smile on someone's face, we're always trying to make patient care better as well, right? So with the OR in particular, when I ask, hey, how did this procedure go? You know, doctor gives me a different opinion than the scrub tech, and the circulator gives me a different opinion. And when I have the privilege to talk to a patient, that's different as well. So it's just everyone's doing different things. Everyone has different needs. And at the end of the day, we want to be compliant. We want good patient outcomes to be better. We want happy surgeons, and we want everyone to be safe, not just A, B, or C, right? We want to make everyone safe. So little information, a little brief intro, and I'll probably show a little video here in a little bit. But some of the things that we see and sometimes we don't have control over is in the operating room, your doctor is focusing on the surgery, and he's got procedural things set up on the Mayo stand, and he's got back tables, everything filled. He may have someone helping him on the other side of the patient, and scrub tech has everything kind of ready to go. But during the procedure, the doctor turns to get the next tool or instrument. The scrub tech turns around. Whoops, we just cut the doctor's hand open. I was in a spinal case observing, and the doctor had his hand out, turned around, scrub tech turned around with the tool, sliced him right open. No one's fault. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to. His hand went to the side because he's twisting and turning, trying to still focus on what he's suctioning out. But things happen. Everything went on the floor. Patient's under anesthesia for another 10 minutes. We're trying to flash sterilize, which isn't the best thing to do anyway, right? So our developer, Matt Cradell, came up with a way to improve things. You know, and doctors also put instruments and stuff on top of the patient while working. So he's got things at hand and at reach where he can still stay focused. Sometimes things slide into the patient procedure area. Sometimes things just slide on the floor. The other thing is when I've seen multiple doctors, even just across from the patient, I've seen the surgeon walk around the C-arm, around the table to get his own instruments because the scrub tech is still very focused on that one surgeon she's trying to help. And it gets very stressful. And I know Dr. Mason, who was here last week, hard to follow up on, is, you know, just an amazing, brilliant mind. I can't say enough about what he has created. But it looks like there's a lot of similar things that people are saying. It's stress and burnout. We want to make things more organized and easier for the technicians. You know, we don't need surgeons walking around tables to get stuff. We don't need extra people in the OR for assisting. We don't want things falling into the patient. We don't want things falling on the floor. Things do happen. And our creator of this safety platform took some of that into consideration and came up with an amazing, incredible device. So I'm going to the part where I'm being available to make decisions based on results. I mean, you can't say yes to everything, right? If you've got something that might be of interest, that's got some good safety and some improvement to it, you know, make your decision based on results. If you're able to do a trial and use it and you want to, be open. You know, it might be the best thing that you've done, right? If you've got some issues it can solve and it works within your allowable budgeting and your allowable appropriate ability to put things in, if it's going to make your staff safer, they're going to be more efficient, right? It's going to be a more efficient, safer place to work. So some of the issues in the OR, I think we've discussed a little bit about. We've got the patient view, we have a staff view, surgeon's view as well. And some of that surgeon's view actually turns into needs, right? We've got issues, we've got needs in the OR, and then solutions in the OR. So some of those needs for that doctor might be, well, I really need to have things in front of me, even though I know possibly putting things on the patient isn't maybe the best practice, right? Because we always want to do best practices. It may not be the best practice, but for him, it allows him to focus on that case. So I always tell my scrub techs, you know, when you've got a 5-year-old, and I've had lots of 5-year-olds, and we're finger painting or we're doing a project, I lay everything out in front of them, right? So it's within reach. I don't have paint on the carpet. I don't lose their focus, and they can actually do the best they can with everything right in front of them. So for a surgeon, he needs stuff. There's several common tools that he'll need in front of him, so he doesn't keep lifting his head up and keep turning. He's going to focus on that patient 100%. So with that in mind, and then you've got times where you've got to reposition the patient. So now he's got tools on top because he needs them there, and you got to take them all off so we can reposition the patient. Or if we're going to use the C-arm or do imaging, you're putting on, taking off, putting on, taking off all the time. And again, things fall, you're retouching, it's more contamination and more twisting and turning for the doctor. And it just becomes very difficult to actually focus on the patient. And by that time, the scrub tech has been through quite a bit of handing back and forth of tools, instruments, and supplies, accountability, making sure things are where they need to be, making sure things aren't falling into the patient as well. And so that doctor's need, I think, is something that needed to be addressed for our inventor for this safety platform. Solutions to the OR. You know, over the years, there's been lots of solutions. You know, I mean, the patient drape. I mean, way back when there weren't a lot of patient drapes on patients, and there needed to be some kind of barrier. So we have patient drapes. We've got specialty patient drapes. Just along the years, it's common sense things that we have to protect the patient, protect the staff. And, you know, one of the other things that has come up is the use of cautery and bovie in some of the drills and tools that are, you know, electronic now that are hot to touch. Sometimes they end up on or too close to patient, and you're looking at heat and burn. I've seen that as well. And we're all just trying to come up with clipping the drape and putting the cords in this pocket thing that we've made. And then there's pocketed drapes too, but you still have this hot-ended touch, but you still don't want to contaminate. So there's just been a lot of things revolving around. And with everyone's amazing, unique, different perspective, over the years, different people have come up with amazing inventions and innovations. Like Dr. Mason, he saw a lot of these same issues that we all have today and came up with an amazing mixed reality for you know, keeping track of things and timing of cases, and you know, just amazing. So the inventor of this safety platform saw the same needs and issues and came up with something a little bit different. And you know, I just wanted to share this because I've gone to different ambulatory surgery centers or hospitals, and I talk to the staff, and like, we don't drop anything. We don't have anything fall on the floor, and we don't flash a lot. And we, you know, when you pull data up, it says otherwise. And I presented at APIC, and I pulled up some of their local members' hospitals. They're none named or identified. And I said, one of the ladies said, "Hey, well, who did the best?" I said, "None of you. You all failed miserably. Everyone needs to improve." Yeah. We all need to improve, right? And this is just from last quarter's results. We all have to. And it's our responsibility to not just make ourselves safe and patients safe, but to just keep improving. And sometimes seeing some of that in front of you is a little eye-opening, and it's good. It's not a bad thing. It's saying that, hey, we just need to keep our eyes open and look at things and maybe take a different perspective sometimes. Here's some of the OR staff patient safety concerns. Just kind of jotted some down. Surgical site infections at APIC last month. We're still pretty heavily talking about surgical site infections and things falling onto the floor. We had a sterile processing person there too. Things still getting flashed, which really isn't the best process. Really going through a full disinfection is the best process all the time. But when you're in a case, you do the best you can, right, for safety and efficiency, and especially since they're under anesthesia, that's also safety. Sharp's injuries in the OR, my poor doc. He's now a statistic. I told him, you're a statistic now. He's like, I've never had my hand cut. Well, now you did. So he's taken a very different perspective when he turns around and has his hand out for things now. And actually, I got him, he'll be using the device very soon. But reducing the need passing instruments between staff members. Again, I've seen scrub techs and doctors reach over procedures across into patient areas where really we shouldn't be doing that, right? The constant turning and twisting for the doctors, they're losing focus on the actual procedure. And then the scrub tech too, just the constant handing back and forth, and she's got to keep the accountability, the timeouts, the counting. Everything should be a lot more organized. And I know they are getting burned out, stressed out. I've seen them yelled at. And everyone is doing it for the sake of safety of the patient and the best procedure. It's not done in ill will ever. It's because we're all very focused on having the best procedure, the best outcome. And sometimes all that juggling is really unnecessary if we can provide something, right? There's obviously something missing to make things a lot easier, something that makes sense. So reduce surgical instrument supplies from falling into the patient procedure. That would be something that I've had people mention. Reduce risks associated with loose cords and slips. Again, just keeping track of those cords. They're on the floor, they're up, they're down, they're attached to something possibly hot or a cutting tool. And of course, if someone trips over it, that tool's gonna go flying, right? That's the other thing. I know we're using clips and some other things, but ultimately we want that end to be somewhere where it has a little bit more control and our tools somewhere more secure as we rotate around the patient and help the doctors or the surgeons. You guys need something where you can use it in front of you to keep focus and have more of a platform for the back and forth of tools to hand off versus physically handing it in a lot of different cases. Reduce wasted time reprocessing instruments from dropped or fallen instruments. If you can run and go grab backup stuff, that's great. But some of these spinal kits and some of these other kits, there's one kit that's brought in for you. And if that goes on the floor or if that's compromised in any way, that needs to be taken care of. And we need to use that kit, right? So sometimes you don't have those choices at hand and you've got to make things work with the appropriate sets that we have. Reduce patient time under anesthesia as well. Talking to some of the anesthesiologists too, that's one of their biggest concerns is sorry, I have a big dog, is helping the patient make through surgery without a lot of concern on the anesthesia time. Something falls on the floor, or if it's disrupted or falls or it's touched or contaminated in any way, that is more anesthesia time for the patient. And I know that makes our anesthesiologists very nervous about that. Things do happen. And when they go under, they're tested for certain things and make sure they're healthy. But when you're looking at another 10, 15, 20 minutes or something, there's decisions that need to be made that need to be addressed as well. with that extra time added on. So again, different points of view on how things go in the surgery room. The anesthesiologists are, extremely stressed when there's different timetables introduced during the case. Reduced risks of burns, fire, and heat, fire prevention, cautery, bovie, whatever it is. There's a lot of automated movement now going on in the OR, and we're looking at a lot of different things. They're hot. Sometimes the surgeons are looking for places to put them, or trying to look for the little pocket to put the tip in, and they need to be very careful with that and place it in there correctly, so you don't get burns or heat with our cases, or unnecessary cuts or tears from cautery. One of the other biggest things that I know everyone's dealing with, we want to make sure that our cases are very profitable. We can't live on love, right? We have to do things in a way where we have revenue to increase technology, to pay for our staff, to pay for our facilities, and have a good income into the hospital so we can all have a living. You just can't live on love and air, right? Truly. So we have to make really smart decisions on what we do. And yet we've got to be compliant. And when you have inspectors come in, they want to show initiatives where you are. Patient safety initiatives. Hey, what are your patient safety initiatives for this year? You've got to come up with some, because if you go back to your scores, no one's perfect. We should always be striving for better. So there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of stress and, amazement at the end of surgery too, when things just turn out fantastic and outcomes are as good as they can be. But there's also a lot of stress behind the scenes as well, on not just your scrub techs, the hospital, the surgeon, your anesthesiologist. And we want to make things less stressful. And if things are more organized, I think things are more stress less than, and we can then focus more on the patient. Hopefully the scrub tech will have less burnout, and we'll be able to relax a little and focus a little bit on other things that are going on. I'm stealing this from Dr. Mason from last week, because I actually have another one, and I did talk to him. I love him. This and one of the other slides just really caught my eye, and it's just a surgical care at Crossroads. And we talked a little about this. Surgery has become increasingly complex. They have all this great new stuff. There are more tools and equipment than ever before. There's new stuff, more technology, more stress, more things to look at. And if you do bring in new technology, try and make sure that all of your staff is aware of what it is. Not just that designated scrub tech. Things happen, something could happen to that person or the others. We want to make sure that we have other staff that are educated on the new technology as well, and they've been documented certificate of completion that they have understood what that new technology is. So if you've got anything new coming into the OR, I don't care what it is. Don't care at all. Just documentation, because when inspectors come in, they can pick it up and say, show me where your staff has been trained on this, right? You want to have an e-file with something on it. So just keep that in mind as well. Staff turnover and burnout at times. And again, there's a lot of stress going on, and we want to make things less stressful, because at the end of the day, we're all there to make sure things go as perfectly as possible. The other one that really caught my eye was operating room disorganization, and is a leading cause of medical errors, waste, and higher cost. It just is, and the numbers are outstanding. Again, his extremely advanced mind took things to an amazing mixed reality, crazy amazing tool that I know will be out very, very soon. But addressing some of the basics. I like the KISS to keep it simple, stupid for me. I try and keep things as simple as possible. And I wanted to just share a video for you guys, just to get an idea of who Matt is. who created this device, and a little bit about him. And let me just go ahead and start here. Hold on.
There's no sound coming from the video.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. I have the video all the way up. Let me see if I can see here. Hold on.
There's a share sound button on Zoom. There's
Okay.
a share sound. Yeah. The 3 little dots. Let me see.
Okay, let me get here more. Okay, hold on. There we go.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me know that. Let me get us back here. Just and yell if you can hear, or someone.
Hi, I'm Matt
Can you hear?
Kriesel, owner and founder of Medical Lock
Yes, we
Corporation.
can hear now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thanks for
letting
letting me know. See, I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know.
You're welcome.
The Surgical Lock platform is a safety platform, really.
Exactly, that's I know.
The handoff.
Can everyone hear? Yes.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Needles,
I heard someone.
scalpels, etc., but also to create efficiencies within the OR. In America, there's 48 million surgeries a year. Average OR time in America is around $300 a minute. If we save 1 minute off the OR time, the product pays for itself. But overall, the SurgiLock product is made from a green-based technology called Elastec. What Elastec is a cross-link green, environmentally non-toxic technology that is an open cell that is always sticky. It has no magnets, and what it does is it will grab plastic, it'll grab suction, irrigation, Bovie, any of the instruments that go on it. It just holds them and you simply remove it on and off at a 90-degree angle. But what it does is it stops any of the wasted movements of a surgeon. So if they're handing sharps back and forth, it's a much safer product. If they have wasted movement in the OR, if they have any products that go overboard, a suction, irrigation, a Bovie, some of these disposable instruments. If an instrument hits the ground, they have to reflash it. It could take a lot of time. This creates an amazing benefit to the hospital, to the surgeon, to the OR, and to the cost economies of scale of the hospital. As far as the whole process to get SurgiLock approved to be on the sterile field, we worked with 2 companies. Steris did all the testing for the bioburdens, for the fungus, etc., those kinds of things. And then the cobalt sterilization was done at Sterigenics. And so we went through all the protocols for FDA, for sterilization process, and all of that's been done. And I'm proud to say we have an incredible product. Now you'll see that SurgiLock just simply goes onto the sterile field, onto the drape. And here you'll see an instrument, you can kick it on. I have a marble, you'll see how it rolls, slow release. This product is patented in the drapes, patented on the platform. But one of the other patents that we did, multiple patents, is on the Mayo stand that can move into the field. And I'll demonstrate it real close, but you can go up, down, tilt side to back, and now the surgeon can move into the instruments, and then suction irrigation can hang off, and they can move it right over where they're working. There'll be a set of LED lights that shine down into the field. It's an amazing product. It will revolutionize the way surgeons operate, and in every room they'll be more efficient, as well as create a safety platform for the OR. I'm anxious for you guys to use it. I can't wait to get the feedback. So far, it's been incredible. It's been incredibly received throughout the surgical community, throughout all over the United States. So we're excited about the technology. We're excited about making the OR safer. We're excited about you guys trying this product.
So that's Matt. Really cool stuff. And you know, the articulating Mayo stand I think is out like six months. And I think they're adding some AI to it as well, possibly where you can you know, scan patient tag, you can tag time on it as well. But gosh, so 6 months for that, but it's gonna be hovering, I guess, a hovering kind of articulating Mayo stand, so the doctor can place it wherever he or she sees fit for whatever tools they want to put on there. They may want to use the surgical pad in front of them still. They may want the articulating stand on the side. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Did someone have a question? Or
Yeah, thank you so much.
yep. And so there's a lot of cool things that can be done, and a lot of it is just you know, voice of customer. We've talked to lots of different surgeons and tons of scrub techs, and you know, for me, I feel that the scrub tech is the one that should really own this. The OR and the scrub tech should own this, because setting everything up, getting the platform with all those tools that doctor commonly uses if they hand back and forth. Now she can relax a little bit, focus on the patient. If there's anything else that needs to get done, she can watch that. She can also preload all of the syringes and then use the platform as a loading platform for the syringes as well. If there's two doctors, the other doctor on the other side has his tools on that side, or his, if he's doing the bovie, or he's doing cauterization, or if he's the suction guy, I don't know what, but he'll have his own platform, his own safety platform on that side. So really just trying to support the scrub tech, the OR, stress and burnout. It'll be more relaxed and it'll be really organized. When we do our timeouts to go and to check for if they're doing a C-arm in the mid-procedure, and they do a timeout to do a quick count on supplies, it'll be really organized. Versus trying to move things and count things, and you were constantly touching them if we're going to be counting and putting things back in order to get our counts done correctly. So I want the scrub tech to really own the product, especially the one now that's on the that can be placed on the pad, and it can be placed on the pad if the legs are up in stirrups. You can have the pad on the side, literally at a 90 degrees angle, and they can take their tools straight off the side of where they're working. So I've seen it done. I've seen some very, very happy people. My scrub techs are, you know, just in awe over, they have, you know, more focus to help the doctor if they're repositioning patients, if they've got to go back and get to the back table to bring more supplies up, or switch out sets for a second part of the procedure. It's just less stress. And when there's less stress, there's more organization and things seem to go at a better flow. The other thing too is I've been on the other end with the sometimes it is environmental services, but sometimes it's environmental services. Sometimes it's your dedicated OR techs that are doing the case turnovers, you know, and as fast as you want things to go, if that procedure goes over just a couple of minutes and they are racing around like crazy trying to get everything done to stay on time, you know, are we compromising what? Are we compromising the time it takes for the chemistries to dry? Are we not getting the room done correctly and fully? We don't want to compromise that case turnover. We want that to be done correctly and completely and in 100% the way it's supposed to be done. So using the pad also as a safety platform and loading platform as a system will really help cases stay more in tune for OR time in cases. And we've seen one urologist, it's about 5 or 6 minutes difference from him doing open cases. So the patient safety landing platform under FDA Class 2 device, and it was already exempted. You know, it's the 21st Century Cures Act, and I just kind of put that up there. I was not really in tune with what that was, and had a lot of questions asking, what the heck does that mean? And you know, again, I like to share stuff. So legislation provides NIH critical tools and resources to advance biomedical research across the spectrum, from foundation basics research to studies. So it kind of fell under that. And I know a lot of stuff does, but I think it's always great to share, and that there are different, different guidelines and different things out there to help with technology and support people in the OR, because anytime we have surgery, we really rely on you guys, and it's hard for the OR, the technicians, the cleaning staff, and anyone else to get things done without tools, right? Especially something that's going to be very simple as the safety platform or loading platform, that will really have an impact on the way things are done and make things safer and more efficient. I just have some things from some of the doctors that had used the product during their studies. So they have had their case studies, and they've had lots of different smaller groups do these in one big hospital as well. But, it's 10 minutes time, case examples, reducing average surgical delay, 10 minutes. That's huge. We want our case turnovers to be safe, effective. We want terminal cleans to be done correctly as well. But running around between trying to make up time during that case turnover, when we've got to have disinfectants sit correctly and at a certain time for it to be sterile, we've got to make sure that's done without interruption. And we don't want people running down the hall either instead of walking or skipping. We want things done in a very professional, calm manner throughout the OR sterile core as well. Michigan State University healthcare costs. It just talks about the costs, and the numbers are just beyond incredible for me. I think, 2018, and I wanted to pull some of the older ones because, it takes a lot of time getting some of the newer studies in, and I think that, having some stable numbers to pre-COVID as well, because we're getting back to normal now, versus the ones that were during COVID were kind of skewed because we didn't have, we lost a lot of OR time and procedure time, right, during COVID. So I wanted to go with something that was a little bit more in tune with COVID, that leaves COVID out a little bit for numbers' sake. Hospitals could save an average of $1,800 per surgery and $28 million annually. We're also reducing risks of complications from mitigating risk. If you've got Joint Commission, DMV, CMS that comes in and they say, hey, your scores are great, but still we want to keep improving things. Oh, great, I've got my patient safety initiatives. And well, what are you doing to mitigate risks? So you try and find things to mitigate risks, right? And there's some good things out there, but not all of them catch everything. Some have rules that only certain things it catches. This safety pad, the safety system will catch everything, even a ball. It will catch the plastics, the stainless steel. If it's magnetic or not, doesn't matter. If it's hot or not, it doesn't matter. It will protect the patient. It also doesn't transfer heat. So you can use this device to use for risk mitigation in several of those slots. And also there's built-in education. There's QR codes that come with the product that you can download onto your hospital site for education and quarterly training. And there's also free education training that we do live online. The QR codes are fantastic. Those get updated as well. But the last thing you want is just more hassle, right? Sometimes I just want to click a button and just get my training right there and then get some kind of certification, right? So we have that on QR codes. So it's really nice. And those can be customized as well. Again, novel innovations able today to increase safety and ROI. Adhesion cross-linked polymer, greatly reducing OR delays, retrieve another instrument, reduce chance for instrument damage as well. That's the other thing we didn't talk about was damage to the instruments. Again, when I ask, hey, what has it been like in the last 6 months with instruments? Well, we don't drop instruments. Well, no, but they fell on the floor because your sterile processing director just said we have broken instruments, right, that need to be sent off now, or he's flashed 20 times. You know, it's not that I want to play on words. I just want to find out to help, right? We want to make things better. We want things to be easier for you, way easier. I have 5 daughters, like I mentioned. They think they know everything. So I see 2 of the 3 washing dishes by hand. They didn't bother to ask about the dishwasher. It was full. They didn't want to unload it. But when we unloaded it and shoved everything in there, well, they had time to go out and go hang out with their friends. Oh my gosh, technology. But we've got to ask questions. We've got to be open-minded, and education. Anything that someone shares with you might be something, even if it's a little bit, that you just didn't know or didn't know a lot about. And sometimes we rely on other people's opinions. And I know I've got some, I'm going to play a video here a little bit. I really want you guys to have your own opinions and try things, because everyone's OR is different. Everyone's staff is different. Everyone's in a different country as well. And you have different needs. So I always try and ask that you go ahead and try things out yourself if you are in that position where you can. It's always good to expose yourself to new things. So I've got the video next, and that'll be the last thing I play next. Again, safety platform. They're actually coming out with a kit that will have a couple of little pieces in it for loading syringes. There's also a sharps box. So all their sharps can be placed in this little box on the platform. And one thing that's amazingly cool is a place for the sutures. Because right now the sutures, they usually are, someone holds the suture, the little tablet for the sutures, and the doctor tries and the surgeon's pulling the sutures out. So now the suture little pad platform can go onto the sticky pad, and the doctor literally he plunks and pulls what he wants straight out of the pad. It's all there secure, nothing moves, and he can just pull and pop these sutures without anyone else handling or holding anything. He'll have complete access to that, and it's amazing how efficient they are, and how easy it is versus people trying to hold the card while trying to get sutures and stuff out of it. And they can even organize it in a certain way if they want, without trying to go, oh God, which one is that? Which one is that? Which one is that? They can just pre-organize it on the side. So that's a really cool thing to have. Everyone's got to close, right? Anyway, just a little reminder there. Here's 2 of the docs that assisted with some of the education and training that we had involved. And I'm just going to play this last video, and that'll be it. This will be one of the docs, and it's being used, and this is his opinion. But again, I'd love for you guys to try it. Let me just start this here. And I should still, let me just check if I'm sharing sound. I am sharing sound. That's good. Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name is Paul Glazer. I'm a spine surgeon in Boston. Use of Surgilock is going to really revolutionize how we perform the surgeries. It's a pad that is placed on the surgical field, which allows us to restrain things such as bogies, bipolars, and suctions and drills. I actually did a study once which actually showed that in the case that goes over 3 hours, there's a 67% chance that something will become contaminated, meaning fall off the surgical field. And that's despite our attempts by making folds in the drapes, such as creating a trough to try to restrain things. The real risk is, of course, infection. If something falls off halfway off the field, you have to make a decision whether it's still sterile. The second thing is it's time. Time involving replacing instruments that have slipped or fallen off the surgical field and are now unsterile that have to be replaced. The circulating nurse subsequently has to run around, find a new one, hook it up. In Boston, at our Harvard teaching hospital, it costs $300 a minute to sit in an operating room. The fact that we feel that this may reduce the incidence of these types of displacement of instruments may certainly reduce the cost as well as enhance the efficiency of doing surgery. I truly believe that this is going to revolutionize how all surgeons are going to organize the surgical field.
Let me see here. Okay. So that was the last of the video. I just wanted to kind of keep it very simple, and you know, it's not like I've got a big hard drive of crazy analytics. I think it's an amazing, simple way to solve huge issues, and would love to get some feedback. And if anyone would like some more information or some samples, just let me know. But would love to get your thoughts and opinions. Again, we're just looking at keeping things simple, keeping it organized, relieving stress of your OR staff, right? That's huge, 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 huge importance. And just making it safer. Again, even if it doesn't fall off, it might fall off. And if it does, is it sterile field? Is it not in the sterile field? One of my podiatry docs, he's like, yeah, just grab it, we'll throw it on. And he had cords and tools, and of course he's got feet right here facing him. And we got the pad, he put it right on the shins and had all of these tools. He's like, oh my gosh, I've got everything where I need it now. Because with the feet, it was all a big mess. And I also gave him a nice smooth surface to put tools on. And, you know, it was, for him, it was nice now to be able to have everything right in front of him where he can get things done a little bit more efficiently. And he was yippity yappity smiling and singing through the case, which was great. Our scrub tech was like, oh, this is good. Now when he needs other stuff, I can go get it without having to worry about holding this and getting that at the same time. It's just less stress. And I think the less stress we have, God forbid, since COVID, we all need it. We all need it. We all need it anyway. And would welcome feedback and any little videos or anything you want to share with me. And I've got my phone number down if you guys want to reach out. But thank you so much for your time. Did anyone have any questions on anything?
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. And I know there's a chat down there too. So if you guys have any questions, just put it down there. And again, I think my contact information is somewhere available too. I'd love to work with you guys. And have a fantastic evening, morning, noon, night, day. And I'll be watching all the other, the next seminars as well. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's good. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. You know,
you're very welcome.
It's a very informative section. So now it's time for question and answer. So if anyone have any question, please do use the raise hand Zoom section. Meanwhile, I have someone I've already sent in question here. I would like to read out. So we can use. First, for that, I would like to ask this question. No, as a seasoned professional, what advice do you have for healthcare practitioners in overcoming challenges and barriers in implementing these innovative approaches you have mentioned to us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. And that's the question's for me, right? You're breaking up a little bit.
Okay, let me repeat the question. Okay, the first question I want to ask is, as a seasoned professional, what advice do you have for healthcare practitioners in overcoming challenges and barriers in implementing these innovative approaches you have mentioned?
Oh, okay. Yeah, very, very good question. And everyone has different committees and different standards of getting things done. Yeah, with the OR, things are a little bit differently than going through hospital system, right? In the OR, a lot of times there's also an OR purchasing person. So if you have an OR director or someone, a director that wants to bring things in, they'll need to follow the hospital protocol. So sometimes they'll need to get their VAC committee, their value analysis team or committee, to approve the product. Or if it's something like the pad, it may not need to, since it falls under like patient barrier and safety. It actually does fall under patient barrier safety device, like a drape would. Some hospitals have not done a value analysis committee. They've had the OR just assign it to MedTech, a loss number, required education training, have all the papers documented that they've done that, and have it on file as one of the barrier safety devices that they would use in surgeries. So depends on the hospital, depends on the ASC, but always check in with your infection preventionists to make sure that they know what's going on and they have buy-in on everything. If you've got to present it to that committee, we can be available by Zoom or fly in and help with that, not a problem. And a lot of times we have surgeons that get the product after they've tried it and they just say, I want this, and they don't go to that committee and they implement it. Again, it's not like some of the devices that you're going to bring in that are capital equipment. It's not. And some of the surgeons have just brought it in, it's been assigned a number, and they use it after the education and training has been documented, because I document. So follow your guidelines, make sure that you've got a champion, make sure you have a surgeon that is on board that loves it. A lot of times they can just bring it in. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much. Okay, I will be asking another question from the chat box.
Sure.
Someone asked a question. What are present modalities for testing the medical devices on functionally safe to ensure patient safety? So the question is, what are the present modalities for testing the medical devices to ensure patient safety, like laparoscopy instruments, installation failure testing, and then testing of light source cables and rigid endoscopy?
So the testing done by third party is the Steris and the Sterility Company did all the testing of various, not just instruments, but also various supplies, whether it's gauze or a round object, a square object, if it's stainless steel or plastic. So all that was done by an accredited third party on everything, including antifungal and other testing as well, antimicrobial, antifungal.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, then the next question, are there any ongoing research or best practices in the field of operating room management that you would recommend attendees to explore further after this webinar?
So best practices in OR management?
Yes, that you recommend the attendees to explore further after this webinar.
Oh, I can definitely post some things, and I can get them to you and you can post them out. that I think would be very helpful. It's always good to have, just in general, another set of eyes. You know, it's always good to have someone else there, like your infection preventionist, right, at your facility. A lot of times they may have a third party that will come out, like I did. And I would often, round in the OR, put together with a massive global company, an ROI monitoring system that monitored the OR between cases as well, but put together some processes where the OR manager can get some data. So I can send that to you. You can post it out and they can look at that. I think there's even like a demo. And that's like artificial intelligence stuff. It's really good to get data. Again, the other thing is your infection preventionist may have access to a third party that you can get with them and pick out the best person to help with just some rounds. Another pair of eyes out there is always good, because your system that you're using is probably something that's either working or it's not. If it's not, we can definitely help you out and get a good system in place. If it is, and we just need to get another set of eyes out there, I always recommend first just have someone come through, get with infection control, and let someone else check things out, because what you see may not be what they see. And the more eyes you have out there, you can catch things. But I'll get some links to you if you can then post it out, so you guys can kind of pick and choose and browse through some things that might work best for your facility. As far as the safety platform goes, one thing that's good about that is that you can do some recommendations using that. Hey guys, instead of bustling up and flipping all the cords, because when fluids drip from the case or any other extra stuff, it goes down into these little pockets and loops you make, and then that tip can go, and now you're pulling dirty and clean out all the time. So there are some things that could be implemented using the pad if you're talking management that way. So hey, when you've got cords, you put the cords underneath and you put the instruments on top. It prevents the cords from slipping and sliding onto the floor out of the sterile fields, right? Or prevents that tip from going below a certain point. So I can put some tips down there as well, some bullet points on utilizing that safety pad too as part of your management system. So if you're peeking in or looking, or seeing how the cases are going, you can see very easily if what you're wanting to implement has been done or not. You can visually see it. So I'll get a list together, and if you could post that out to the group, they can kind of pick and choose what they think might work for their facility.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Lastly, the final question I want to ask is, what do you think we can do, to implement your recommendations in developing countries?
Oh, okay. I think the patent is international already. They've just started implementing in Australia. And it had nothing to do with me. It was going over there anyway, I swear. So, but I believe the patent is international anyway. If we have interest in certain countries, yeah, we would definitely work with you. Let us know. We're definitely here to help. It's one thing to present candy and then say, sorry, you can't have it. Yeah, so the patent is international, and we will be, I'm gonna let someone else on here. Oh, you got it? Okay. Would love to work with different countries and get feedback, and do all we can to help patients. And again, I want the OR staff to own this, right? To have a less stressful, more enjoyable time in the OR. So we'd love to help.
Thank you so much.
Again, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Okay, now I'll be handing over to the president. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the wonderful session. I think we have two hands. Let's just give them a chance. 1 minute. I could say this is Fumilola Olafemiwa. You can unmute and ask your question. Is she around? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can ask your question.
Hello. Hello. Good evening, all.
Yeah.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
Okay, madam, as far as the laparoscopy instruments are concerned, due to the continuous sterilization and all, the insulation may get failure only. What are the procedures currently happening in SPD for testing the laparoscopy instruments failure, which may cause the surgical burns also inside while during the surgery?
Inside, testing the inside?
What are the present techniques for testing the insulation of laparoscopy instruments?
So anything usually with a lumen, right? Some kind of lumen, some kind of opening or hole. You know, that
that can cause stray energy burns to the patient while using the cautery machine.
Yeah, you know, that's always been a big thing. There are some new things coming out, and I'll check and see if they are. But there are some things that are out. So here's the first thing you have to deal with. You always have to follow the guidelines, because you don't ever want to not follow your guidelines. You must follow your full processing guidelines. And
right,
after
I think as per the NCME protocol, then ST 91 or 92. It should be done within the SPD department itself before the sterilizing the equipment. After disinfection, before sterilization and packing.
Right. So there are a couple of new things coming out that will be new, that will be coming out. So there's some UV. It's a one of a kind. It's a UV sterilization, kill all fiber optic with bristles as well, that will remove and disinfect the inside of anything, even laparoscopic, with any kind of cannula or any kind of tubing. Doesn't matter what it is, we'll have different things that will be removing any kind of masses or biofilm or anything, and will be able to UV again inside something. Because right now we will manually scrub, we've got disinfectants, we've got a lot of other different things going on. We can't change that because it's written guideline and law we have to follow, but we can supplement and get inside. So I'll get more information on that, and it might be out now, but I'll get some information on that and have that posted as well. But that's an ongoing discussion. I think that's been for years and years and years. This new little thing that's coming out, again, pretty novel, but it's a fiber optic UV with physical bristles and other things built into it that will finally help get inside some of those areas. And we'll be down in sterile processing, and I think they'll have it available also like in the OR if any emergencies come up where something might fall below the sterile field or hasn't been used and it's just below the sterile field, or so for emergency cases. But I'll get some more information on that, and I'll have you post that too, if that's okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Julie, for answering those questions. I can see one last hand being raised. You can unmute and speak. One hand, someone's raising hand. Yeah. Okay, I think it could be the network. So
I see the hand, I don't hear anything.
Yeah, so can I just ask this question? What's the cost implication of the surgery lock, like that you mentioned, the pad that you mentioned? What's the cost implication Like if we want to introduce that to developing countries, we want them to improve practices in their hospitals. So how much would you really think that could be?
Oh, in different countries?
Yes, in the US at
That's
the
a hard one.
moment.
Yeah, different countries, different economy, cross conversions. I would, if you want to pass the information over, my direct information over, I can get what country it might be, different countries, and you know, it's going to have to be based on their economy, based on what they're wanting to bring in. But I know he's done it with another 1 or 2 countries, so we would just have to figure that out. But Matt, the developer and designer of this product, it's actually used military uses as well. He was also coming out with this gel, the same tacky thing, also for orthopedic surgeons to use as a compression device without having any ties, because it will self-stick as well. And I know the military does it. So he's had this patent utilized in various ways for 8 years, and used to be, I think, a medical rep at some point when he was younger. So let me get him directly involved with that. If there's a specific country, or if we want to put some kind of initiative together, we can do that as well for different countries. Not a problem.
Okay, thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to say thank you for honoring our invitation and for sharing relevant knowledge. It's been insightful. It's been informative.
I could talk for hours, but I try to keep it
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's a very effective session. I think we moving from the magnetic drape era, and we're moving gradually to the pad, because usually in my facility, we use the magnetic one, occasionally, not always.
And I couldn't say anything, so I'm glad you did. we had facilities using it as well, but it would only magnetize to what a magnet would work on.
Exactly.
And I didn't know how to help him. So that's how I found Matt after my surgeon got slashed. But yeah, it's, and then I see the pockets, the little clippy pockets. And then I see all this patient post drip into it. And they're like, oh, we're going to use this now. Like, no, you can't use that. You just pull it out of this yucky. So yeah, I think it'll be a fun, useful, and hopefully help the OR get more control back and get more streamlined and get more organized. I think what's really stressful for me is when we do the timeout counts and everyone's retouching everything to count it, to put it back in place. I was like, no, don't touch it.
Exactly.
Thanks for picking it up.
And then the restraining pad is okay. Someone is. We can hear you.
Hello, it's me, Lola. Yes, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you a question on issues in OR room. It has to do with this patient view. You told us that we should try as much as to reduce the time of patient in anesthesia. How do we reduce the time of patient under anesthesia?
Oh, so that's pertaining to if you're in the procedure and the doctor has tools or supplies and something falls below the sterile field, right? And you're now having to extend the patient anesthesia time unnecessarily. So this safety platform will help prevent unneeded extra time under anesthesia. Cath lab uses it like crazy. They've got all these cords and tubes, and they've got the bypass stuff. They just put it straight over it. They've got 15 cords lined up and off they go in their procedure. So cath lab is also a heavy user, but is to prevent unneeded extra time.
Time.
Yes, ma'am. That was a good question. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Aside from that, if the patient is booked for 30 minutes procedure, and in the process, the procedure now extends beyond that, how will you now reduce the time of anesthesia on the patient?
You really can't. Your anesthesia, I know, your anesthesia director or your anesthesiologist
Okay.
is the one who's setting up the parameters. So if you've got a 30-minute surgery, he may have allotted some extra allowance, right, when they do their testing. But again, you're putting extra stress on patients for something that we could have just avoided. I think is kind of,
Okay.
and it's just a lot of unneeded stress. And I think at the end of the day, hair falling out and all kinds of wonderful things. There's so much stress around today anyway, that it's just some little things that we can do to make things less stressful, and things seem to be more apt to fall in place then and run more smoothly. And I think stress is a killer. You know, it really is. And if you're doing that case after case after case, day after day, it's just an enormous load that you work and live with. And we want to take care of our OR people very dearly.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you so much. And just to clarify as well, sometimes I know in the United States, you have surgical technologists handling all the instruments, passing out instruments to the surgeons mostly, and the operating room nurses, they like in charge of the OR environment. So in developing countries, you have scrub nurses more, you don't have scrub techs at all in most of the countries. So just to clarify that side as well, I think the restraining pad by Surgilock is a very good technology. It's going to help, especially in terms of safety, patient safety. It's going to help with OR traffic, because sometimes even as scrub nurses, you see that, for example, if you've worked in orthopedics for long, just like myself, sometimes a lot of things could be happening around the scrub nurse. The surgeon is trying to get instrumentation, the scrub nurse is trying to mix cements, trying to set up other things, trying to get more equipment from the circulating nurse as well. So there's a lot going on at that moment. So if you have something like that restraining pad, and which is really good to have everything handy, very close to the field, I think it's a good way to begin. So thank you so much, Julie, for that.
Yeah.
The lecture.
I think it'll really help with your stress levels, and the articulating stem when it comes out. We're looking at about a 90% reduction, because it's going to be hovering in and out. So he can move it, or she can move it anywhere they want to. We're looking at between 85 and 90% reduction for the person who, if there's only one or two, to relieve them of things so they can do stuff. You know, there's also a closed loop bone cement mixing system as well, so it doesn't dry out. I'll send that to you.
Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you.
The session is recorded, so we're going to publish that across TORG platforms. And if anyone has any questions, if they have any feedback, we will definitely get back to you on that as well. So thanks a million for honoring our invitation. I also want to use this opportunity to say thank you to the Education and Training Committee. They've been fantastic, working so hard behind the scenes. Anaclet is the chairperson, is from Rwanda. Mr. Wilson is from Rwanda as well. We have other members of the team. John Paul is from Rwanda as well. Blessing is from Nigeria. We've got Idris from Nigeria as well, and others. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone there as well in the committee. So thank you so much, everyone. They've been sending out invitations, facilitating all the trainings. And in the next 2 weeks, that's 20th of August, we have aseptic technique, and that is going to be discussed by Jo Williams-Cody. She's a certified surgical technologist based in the United States. She's based in Dallas, Fort Worth, United States. She's going to be teaching us
where I am.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much, everyone, for connecting. In fact, the Operating Room Global, so it's a platform for all operating theater users across the globe. So we have almost 150 registrants for this webinar. And we have people connected from over, in fact, as of today, I think it went up to 20 countries. So it's really empowering diversity, and there's power in inclusion as well. So thank you so much for joining. wherever you are. I say good morning, good afternoon, good night. Greetings from County Limerick in Ireland. Thank you so much, everyone. And I will see everyone next session. Thanks a million. Thanks, Julie. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Thank you.